Hi, my name is Colby Pitts, and I am the Florida Friendly Landscaping Coordinator here at Hernando County. And I'm going to talk to you today about Take All Root Rot. This is actually a previously uploaded class that we had some technical issues during a live stream. So I'm just going to re-record it here so we all can have access to this information in a way that that doesn't have any glitches or cuts or anything like that. So we will go ahead and get started here. We're talking about Take All Root Rot today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what actually is Take All Root Rot. Take All Root Rot is a fungal disease that's really common here in Hernando County. We see it a lot in St. Augustine grass, and it affects the roots of a plant, and will give you kind of some dead spots in your yard. Take All Root Rot, which is commonly abbreviated TAR, spreads from plant to plant by these little shoots of fungal growth called hyphae. And that's really why we see it in patches. So it'll shoot out and grow several feet from where you originally saw the dead spot, and will node up and give us another dead spot in our yard. So some of the effects of Take All Root Rot. Take All Root Rot really likes to block the connective tissue in the roots of the plant. So it gets up in there, and you'll see, if you've ever seen the roots of some grass affected by Take All Root Rot, it's really black and gross. And you just got to think that all those connective tissues that's transporting those waters and nutrients up to the rest of the plant is all blocked, and it's all decaying. And it really, that kind of goes down into our effects here, is that poor water uptake and nutrient uptake will lead to the roots being unhealthy, but it also leads to the leaves, the blades of grass, being unhealthy. And if those blades of grass are unhealthy, it compounds back into the roots being even more unhealthy because they don't have the sunlight that they need. And it takes a little while. So another important consideration is that if you see a dead spot, the Take All Root Rot infection is there, and it's been there a while. This isn't something that happens overnight. Take All Root Rot really likes to take advantage of stressed grass. So you'll see it when your turf grass emerges from its winter dormancy. So in the next couple weeks, as we're recording this, is November 16th. So, getting later into November and into December, your turf grass, pretty much all species here, are going to go dormant. So they're not really going to grow very much. And I'm sure you've noticed that you don't have to mow as much in the winter. And when it's dormant, it really doesn't get super stressed out because it's not trying to grow. It's more on a maintenance schedule. So when it comes out of that dormancy is when we would really see the effects of Take All Root Rot, like our dead spots. But that doesn't mean that you can't see it any other time. It's pretty common to hear or to see it anytime during the growing season, where your grass gets really stressed out. And that could be by it being really hot, not enough rain, if it gets inundated with salt water, things like that, if the soil gets really, really basic. For whatever reason, if you were to lime your yard, that's something that you might see. I get a lot of... There's actually two things, calls I've gotten about Take All Root Rot that I'd like to touch on here. The first one, which is not on the slide, is I've had people mention to me, I'll just pull out these dead pieces and put sod down, and then the Take All Root Rot will be gone. Well, that's not really how it works. So I'm actually going to go back a couple slides, and if you see right here, this hyphae that I mentioned, that's growing out from the spot that you dug up and resodded over, and it's just going to grow somewhere else and do the same thing again. And the master gardeners have told me that if you're in Hernando County, you have the fungus in your yard. So it's all about keeping that in mind when you're dealing with your yard here. But the other thing I got to call about is people saying, "Oh, well, I'm spraying for chinch bugs," because the symptom, and I hate to tell them that it's probably not chinch bugs. The symptoms do look very similar, but we don't see a whole lot of like real deal chinch bug invasions or infestations here. But if you really want to check, just look. It's kind of that simple. We want to take a couple teaspoons of dish soap and put it in about a gallon of water. Mix it up really evenly in your watering can, and just spread that evenly over about a square yard of where you think these chinch bugs are living, and then just get down there and look. And if you have a chinch bug infestation, it will be pretty obvious. You'll see a bunch of them, and you might see some bugs down there. It's your yard, but you'll see enough chinch bugs, you'll be like, wow, like this is what's causing my issue. But that's not something that we typically see. And normally, like contextually, if I were to drive through a neighborhood that has all St. Augustine grass here in Hernando County, and I see these dead spots, I, with a certain degree of certainty, can say, hey man, this is not chinch bugs, this is take all root rot, without even looking. But there are several ways that you can confirm that, and we'll get to that in a little bit. The basis of take all root rot treatment is prevention. Like I mentioned, there are you probably have the fungus in your soil already, so we just want to prevent the effects of that fungus to be seen in your turf. So really, and like I mentioned earlier, if you see these above ground symptoms, that disease has already been affecting that plant for a little while, long enough for the tops of your leaves to brown out. Tar takes advantage of that turf grass when it's really stressed out. So we want to reduce the stresses on our yard. So the first one, and I think is one of the most important ones, is mowing your yard at the right height. We don't want to take those blades down to dirt. St. Augustine grass, we really want to see about 4 inches of height in your grass. And those, I've called the blades of grass like the solar panels of the plant. Giving that plant big, long solar panels will lead to it having a really strong root structure, and a strong root structure is much more resistant to take all root rot than a weak root structure on St. Augustine that's been mowed to 1.5 inches. We really want to balance our nitrogen and potassium. We want to avoid lime treatments because the fungus really likes that basic environment. We want to avoid quick release urea and nitrogen products. We want things like weed and feed. We want to stay away from those, because when you put your grass into that like grow mode, like I'm ready to go, along with putting some kind of pesticide on it, that does stress the grass out. Even though the grass is growing, yes, but that growing is a stressor for your grass. We want to give it the foundational stuff that it needs to live, but we don't want to over fertilize, overwater. Really overwatering, especially when you have take all root rot, isn't going to help you. I get a lot of phone calls from people mentioning how our watering restrictions here in Hernando County are what's killing their grass. And I've looked at these yards and I see them, and it's like, no, you have patchy dead spots. That is take all root rot, and you wanting to water more or overwatering is doing nothing but wasting water and creating an environment where that fungus can flourish, because it's not a water issue. So if you do suspect that you have a take all root rot infestation, you want to confirm. The best way to do that is to contact the Hernando County IFAS Extension Office. Their address and phone number are listed right there. They will be able to tell you what your best course of action is, especially when taking into account what other things you have going on in your yard. They're going to want a turf sample, and the best way to do that, we don't want to dig up dead grass or, really gross, not healthy grass, because they're going to look at it and say, yep, that's dead grass. But what we do want to do is get in that border of sick grass, dead grass, and healthy grass. If you get in there, you can really see a side-by-side of what's happening that makes that grass dead. The extension office will also be able to give you some fungicide recommendations, which if you are experiencing a take all root rot infestation, one of the even after you clear it up by de-stressing, almost giving your yard some meditation, one of the things you're going to want to do is I think a yearly fungicide application, and there's about 6 fungicides that the University of Florida recommends you use for take all root rot prevention, and the folks over at the extension office will be able to help you choose the one that's right for your situation and what might work the best for you. So with that, that's all I have for you. It's kind of a short talk on take all root rot. It's super important here, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'm incredibly responsive on Instagram and Facebook, so please send me a message, drop a comment over there. This video will be on YouTube at our Florida Friendly Landscaping playlist on the Hernando County Government YouTube channel, which will be linked in this link tree. Also, I'm going to post it on Facebook, so you'll have it there as well. On that link tree, linktree.com/HernandoFFL, not linktree.com, linktree/HernandoFFL, you'll be able to stay up to date on everything I'm doing, all of my programs, and all my contact stuff is there too. If you want to send me an email, asking a question, our phone number and stuff is up there. So also check us out on Instagram and Facebook at HernandoFFL. Incredibly responsive there if you want to reach out. And with that, I think I'm done. So thanks for watching and have a great day.